And if the Kohen just steps under this ledge, under this the edge of the roof, he's going to become tamei. His whole status changes. He's going to have to go through a process of tahara. He's going to have to purify with the ashes of the red heifer. But you can't see anything, neither before nor after. And the re'iyah, the vision of the red heifer, is so far away, because it's the vision of the purification from death. It's the ultimate triumph over death. That is the deepest secret of the Torah. The Torah, and this is why it was given up front. The Jewish people have the mitzvahs given to them at the beginning of Marah, which are all bound with eternity. Shabbat is the connection with eternity, and so is the Efer Paro Adumo. It's what cleanses us out of the impurity of this world to reach the truth and the complete purity of the world to come. But this cannot be seen with the eye in this world. It can only be seen with the eye of faith, and the eye of the re'iyah, of the vision of Tammuz, is the vision of faith, to understand that everything that has happened, the impurity of the destruction of the temple and the exile of the 10 tribes, is all ultimately going to be reversed. And then we have, following in Chukas, the whole parasha of Moshe, and after the death of Miriam, when the people didn't have water, and he struck the rock, and he was not going to be allowed to see the land. And then we have, after Chukas, we come to Bilam, and we see that the Balak saw what was going on, and Bilam saw. Everybody's all engaged in vision, and so it goes on. And Pinchas saw, and one after the other. It's all about vision, and everything has to do with making these gestalt switches of vision that I was speaking about today in the park. Those of you who were with me when we spoke about how it is necessary to flip and switch your perceptions of situations in order to bring about the redemption. The Yeshua, the Tikkun, comes about from perspective, from the way that you look at things, the way you define things. And this is the whole connection with music. It's appropriate to talk about this now after Parshas Korach, with the Haftarah about Shmuel and the constant allusion to the Bnei Korach, who eventually became the temple sinners, and they found and discovered some way of redemption, and that is what music is all about. Music is made up of notes, and each of the notes of the music is a nekudah, it's a point. It's one good point that we have to search out and sift out of the prevailing noise. That's the difference between music and noise. They both involve air molecules knocking into each other and causing vibrations, and the difference between noise and music is that the musician knows how to pick out the right vibrations, the right frequencies, to make beauty instead of chaos. That is the difference between music and noise. And so it is with ourselves. The holy Reb Nachman of Breslov taught us that the picking out of the notes of music on the instrument by the musician, that is the process of sifting and searching to change our perceptions of ourselves, and instead of perceiving ourselves as our normal fallen consciousness, our fake da'as, our fake self-definitions, Reb Nachman wants to teach us to sift and search, and to keep on doing these flips of perception in order to discover the great goodness within us, which is the Nekudat Tovah, the good point. And each of these acts that we perform when we change noise into music, we change noise, the inner noise of the self, into a note of music. With each time that we do this, we're making a note in the great nigun of our life. And it's all about perception. It is necessary to discover the ways of looking at ourselves that discovers the mission, the greatness of what we are doing. I remember when I was first went into the BBC in London in 1975, I was at the very, very beginning of my path of Shuvah, and I was just beginning to put on tefillin. And my job in the BBC was to come in early in the morning before all the commentators would come in. I had to go to the newsroom, and there was a huge box of ticker tape from all of the news stories that had come in the previous night. It was the most depressing job. We had, in those days, before there was internet and instant messaging and all that, the correspondence reports were coming in from all over the world through these machines which spewed out this rolls and rolls of ticker tape. And my job was to cut it up, and you'd find Reuters would send in page 1 of this story, and then they'd send in page 3 of a different story, and page 5 of a different story, and AP, Associated Press, and all the different agencies. It was all mixed up. My job was to sift and sort it out, and to organize it into the different stories of the day, to discard the ridiculous stories about a dog that bites a woman in Hong Kong, and get to the real important news. What's happening to, in that year, General Franco was dying. Those of you who remember back that far. And for months and months, every day they would say, well, today his blood pressure of this comatose guy is, this much. And then it's risen by, 0.23. It was, and I had to do all this. And I think to myself, what a load of garbage. Why is it that the fact that a Jewish boy in London puts on fillers for the first time since his bar mitzvah 13 years ago, that doesn't get into the news? Why is that not in the news? Maybe that affected the world more than any of this stuff. And I do believe that it did, and it does until today. And so it is in every one of us, that every single mitzvah, it could be the fact that in your break in the office, and you're in a rush, and you've got to eat, but you stop and you say your bracha, and you just think for that moment, 2 extra seconds for this bracha, just a little more kavanah. Do you know how much that affects? That is written there to eternity, that will stay forever, and even though it didn't get into the websites of the news media today, it's going to stay there forever. It's inscribed, and these are the real nekudot tovot. These are the real good points. And this is what it's about, my friends. It's drawing the nigun of Shabbos, for which there is time, into the days of the week. Drawing the nigun of Shabbos into the days of the week. And that's why I'd like to share with you now this beautiful Hasidic Lepot Doidi from the Jikover Rebbe.
Welcome everybody to the Carlebach School. I'm Aaron Greenbaum and David Shecki. Shweki.
Shecki is good.
Shecki Shamish.
Shecki.
David Shweki Shamish. If you'd like to give a donation to this evening, please, fill my pocket. and a suggested $10 I can give. Thank you. I'll walk around discreetly. I won't look at what you give.
Okay.
And thank you.
There's a big difference between Shecki and Shweki, because the gematria of Shweki is actually 416, which is Shin Vav Kuf Yud, and that is the gematria of the Hebrew letter Taf, Taf Yud Vav. It's spelled 416, the same gematria, and the concept of Taf is the concept of making sure that the highest spirituality gets in and gets put there. And that is the greatness of David Shweki, who has brought this together, and bringing the exalted heights of Kabbalah Chassidus into Manhattan, into the Upper West Side. So with that, we can now start with this Lepot Doidi Nigun of
brought to you by ExcitingJudaism.com.
What key are you doing?
I
I just want to say that
my quote's going to be E minor.
Rabbi Greenbaum has his own YouTube website. Just put Rabbi Greenbaum one word in YouTube and you'll get everything that he's been here for the past 8 days. All the classes, all the concerts. Check it out. Check him out on YouTube.